Hello and welcome back to another episode of SHU Doing. I am Aaron Burrell.
I'm Paul Guarino.
And we are your hosts. Season 3 has brought the most illustrious of illustrious guests. And we are joined by Rich Kuroghlian, class of 1990.
How you doing, everybody? Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
No, we appreciate your time. Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, Rich, we like to start with everyone's story of how they ended up at Sacred Heart. How did you know that this was the place for you?
Well, it was, I graduated from Notre Dame High School, class of 85. So I am OG in that there. And, I was looking for a school, a local school, and obviously Sacred Heart's right across the street. So, that's really how I got here. Okay. I like the class sizes, I like the mission, and I just knew about Sacred Heart just from being at Notre Dame, so this is where I chose to go, yeah.
Okay, got you. So, Connecticut local.
Yes.
Stayed here.
Yes, definitely.
And what did you pick as your major?
Business.
Business?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was business. Back then, there weren't a lot of majors to pick from, so I chose business, and it was a great opportunity for me here. Yeah.
Gotcha. And when you get on campus, every freshman's experience is different.
Yeah.
Take us through your experience as a freshman here.
Well, I did know a few people here previously just because I went to Notre Dame, so it was a little bit easier for me when I came on campus. But, I think the thing that, like any other freshman coming on to into a new environment, new school, you're given this freedom that you really didn't have in high school. So I think that was the one thing that kind of was like a wow moment for me. It's like,
Yeah.
Wow, okay, now I got to pick my classes. I got to do all this. And, I think that kind of was the moment when I really understood I'm in college now. It's not high school anymore. It's not grammar school,
Absolutely.
That was it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
I guess going into business, did you freshman year or sophomore year, did you know what you wanted to do or what kind of job you wanted to get?
Not really. No, I was just like every other freshman or
Yeah.
sophomore. You just kind of thinking about, the classes and things to that nature. But so I didn't really think about it, back then. I did eventually get into healthcare. That's where I got into. So the insurance world or, the tech world, but in the healthcare space.
Yeah.
Okay.
But did you know you were or how did you get into that space?
Well, back then,
Yeah.
in let's say 92, 93, jobs were a little bit more difficult to come by. So a friend of mine referred me to a health insurance company, and that's how I got into it. And, it really was, once I got into it, it interested me, it being in that field. So
Never thought maybe I'll pivot here or there. It was always.
it was, once I got into that field, I really said to myself, there's a lot going on in this world, in this space. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of things to solve, a lot of problems to solve. And so I just kind of stuck with it. At different phases of healthcare, but, in the insurance and the technical world. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And what about how much has SHU changed since you've been going, and then now I know you're on the alumni board.
I was on the alumni board.
Okay.
Yeah. So my journey really, at Sacred Heart was, I was a student, obviously. Then I became an alumni, and then I went onto the alumni board in 2013. Became the vice president, and then eventually the president of the alumni board, and my term ended as president in July. So, I've been very fortunate growing up so close to the university to seeing, the change, at Sacred Heart. And it's been, it's been a dramatic change since when I was here because it was a commuter school.
Yeah.
And, we were a group of kids that were from a few different towns, nearby, to this, worldwide global student body that we have now. The buildings, all that was just spectacular to see. So, I've had a front row seat to that, and I was very fortunate. And my wife graduated from here, and now my daughter is here.
SHU love.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you all meet each other at Sacred Heart, or did
Suzanne and I did meet each other at Sacred Heart.
Okay.
Yeah,
How did that happen?
Well, I mean, it's just like everything else. We met at a party or whatever, and her senior year, we went on a date, or it was after her senior year. We went on a date, and so, but I did see her around campus, so I knew who she was, but we just never really connected until after we graduated. So
Where'd you go? The Main Street Diner, staple of the community?
you know where we went? We went to Brick Oven Pizza on Capitol. Was it Capitol? Yeah, Capitol Avenue in Bridgeport, which isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
But we went there, and then our first date was actually a play at Notre Dame High School.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Full circle moment for you?
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
We do love SHU Love here. We love talking about SHU Love.
Great. It's the best.
And so, obviously, you know, as you mentioned, going the alumni board.
Yes.
I think about my time when I was a student here, and people said, "Oh, you know, we have to," you know, you'd ask your professors, "Can we do this, or is this happening?" Oh, you know, the board has to approve it, and you know, as a student, you just think like, "Oh, the board, they're like, like these mythical figures who are behind the shroud." You know, what are those misconceptions?
Yeah, our board isn't like that. So we're not, you know, the board of trustees. We're the alumni board. So really, our role here is engagement and to get our alumni base back, you know, at Sacred Heart. And you know what they've done now is today, you know, Rob Gilmore, and you guys know Rob. He's done a great job of bringing the alumni. Let's say like the alumni events out to our alumni folks
Across the country.
Yeah, well, across the country, right? So they're having events in Jersey. They have events in Dallas. It's all over the country. So in Florida. So you know, wherever the alumni are, that's where they're bringing the events to. And then of course homecoming and you know, alumni weekend are still on campus, but you know, Rob's done a terrific job with that, so it's really good. But our board is not like we're not the board of trustees, so that's a little we're a little.
They're
bit
still shrouded in the mythical field.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I know a bunch of them, and they're really great, but yeah, we're not that board.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, like to be involved in the board of, you know, the alumni board.
Yes.
You care deeply about this place. You've given back. You know, you just mentioned your daughter goes here.
Yes.
You know, what has that, you know, relationship been like for, you know, you now seeing the next generation, like seeing your daughter come here?
Yeah, I mean it's you know, I'm happy she's living on campus. I live in Trumbull, so it's not like I'm far away. But you know, we wanted her to have that experience, the total SHU experience, and you know, the total SHU experience is her living on campus. So we're ecstatic. She loves it. You know, she grew up here, you know, because she would come to events with me, so she got a feel for what SHU was like. But you know, it's a little bit different when you're a student. It's a lot different when you're a student, you know. But it's really, you know, I was honored, you know, to be asked to be on that board. And, you know, the way I looked at it when I was on the board and then, you know, eventually when I became the president was, you know, engagement and making people feel welcome when they come back. Because there's nothing better than, you know, seeing an alumni from my era or an era that really didn't have what, you know, a lot of our students have now, come back and look at it and see the look on their face. That's the best for me. You know, to say, hey, wow, look at this. And, you know, I've been on tours before where students from the 70s were like, oh, I remember that, you know, my classroom was here. And, you know, so that to me, it just brings real joy to me to see that kind of expression, that kind of love for Sacred Heart.
Definitely. Let's see, do you have a favorite memory of, you know, obviously I'm sure you've seen plenty of people come back, but like somebody has got to have given you a moment where it's like, you know, you feel good. Maybe it's a funny moment that they shared when they were here, but
you know, it's like some people that I've met went to high school here and then they went to college here because, you know, Sacred Heart was a high school before it became Sacred Heart. So just to see like I remember a person like saying, oh yeah, I think my homeroom was here, and my, you know, my English class at Sacred Heart was here. Yeah. So to see that is just, you know, just to see the look on the expression on people's faces, it's priceless.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even like I was telling Rich before off camera, every time I'm at an event, I always see Rich. So like he just like whatever he just said was true because like every time I saw Rich, and he was always welcoming me.
Yeah, and I think that's important because, you know, when somebody comes on campus and they haven't been here in a while, or it's a new person, let's say it's somebody that you know, a parent with their child that wants to come here. I think it's very important that, you know, we as alumni welcome them back to campus or on campus, or, you know, we're here to answer a question. You know, I'll tell you a quick story. I was here last weekend and I saw a family that was here for an unofficial tour. They were just kind of, you know, walking around, and, you know, the two daughters were juniors, and they had their map out and they were looking around, and so I asked them, I said, what are you looking for? Oh, we're looking for a place to eat. We're looking for the dining halls or whatever. So I showed them, and to see the look on their faces, as somebody that's never been on campus before, to say, oh wow, look at this, and you really hope that I really hope that, like, if I made an impression on them, just telling them some stories about Sacred Heart, and about my daughter being here, and how she's doing. You hope that you can, encourage them to take that chance and come to Sacred Heart University.
Absolutely. And over the years as well, like even from our time to now, like seeing the relationship with Sacred Heart and Notre Dame grow. And
Yes.
as an alum of both schools, how has that been for you to see?
It's been great. My time at Notre Dame was really special. I really liked Notre Dame. My parents were involved over there, and it was a special school for me. Growing up, there, I played sports there, and I played the first football game on the football field there.
Oh wow!
That's how old I am. So it was a lot of fun. We played our Thanksgiving Day in 1984. Our game played there. So
wow.
And then kind of coming over here, it was like, wow, I always thought of it as an extension of Notre Dame, and eventually it became that. So, but I'm really excited for it. I know the principal over there, Chris Cipriano, great guy. And it's really good to see that kind of connection.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think we're all sports guys here. So,
Yeah.
What has it been like? I think it must have been D2 still when you were going here. So, what has that been like? Seeing D2 to D1 now, seeing like obviously there's been a lot of athletes to go pro too.
Yeah, So when I was my first year here, we won the national championship in basketball.
Oh.
So that was like, I'm like, wow, we're going to do this every year. This is great. And they played in what was fondly known as the SHU box, right? So it was the gym where the Performing Arts Center is now. So there was a gym there back in the day. Wow. So so we played there. The Pitt Center wasn't. I don't even know if it was thought of back when I was here. But to see it grow the way it has, and to see the number of athletes come through here, and the hockey arena, the Pitt Center within the transformation that's gone through, and they're just it's just been a real kind of metamorphosis of a school, growing and through athletics, and that's been a great thing for me to see as well.
Absolutely.
So I enjoyed. I go to all the basketball games. I follow a lot of the teams because I always thought that you get to know the parents, because one day those kids are going to be alumni, right? So I always tried to make sure that I had like that kind of connection,
I got a tough question though. What's it going to take for the men's basketball team to make the tournament one year?
I think Anthony's doing a great job. I think they're there. I think it's just a matter of a few more wins per season. I mean, really, that's all I could say. I think that they're really the MAC has been great for us.
Yeah.
It's been a great step up for us, and our teams have competed. I mean, we haven't been kind of left behind. I think we're doing a really good job. I know Judy Ann is doing a spectacular job over there as our athletic director, and just a couple more wins and we're going to be there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a men's soccer alum, and
oh, that's right, exactly.
And now I'm seeing, like obviously men made it to the NEC. Not NEC. Sorry, old habits die hard.
There you go. Right, exactly.
The MAC championship this year.
Yes.
That was so great. Like in terms of alumni engagement, we have now. Anthony's done a phenomenal job keeping us all engaged. We have chats that we're all talking to each other.
Yes.
Even alumni chats where it's like, hey, such and such a student is graduating. Anyone able to give them any advice into the career they're advancing in.
Yep.
And then even, seeing the women win the MAC championship this year.
Awesome.
Phenomenal to see. So
yeah, I mean, making that move, it's always tough making a move up, but we've been really successful. You look at like you said, the men and women's soccer teams are a perfect example of that. Yeah. And your alumni base at the men's level is it's pretty good, because I was at I think it was Fairfield last year. We played Fairfield up here, and I walk by and I see a bunch of alumni. I'm like, hey, Rich, how you doing? Yeah. So that kind of alumni participation is really good to see, and I know Anthony does a great job. I spoke at a couple of his events, which I love doing that and welcoming them back, welcoming our alumni back. That's really
Yeah, we have our alumni game, and we're all looking forward to it. All the guys are like a couple of guys that I went to school with here. They're like, oh, I'm going out for a run this morning. I'm like, I guess I better start doing that too.
Yeah, exactly.
No one wants to be the old guy anymore.
Yeah, no, I know.
I know. So it's like, all right,
that's
you know,
true.
I'll get the ice packs for you.
Yeah, there you go. That's
I'm
right.
ready. So
exactly.
Yeah, if there's anything I can suggest is some ice packs for us older guys. We will need them.
That's great.
But it's great for us. Like we come back, we see the field that these guys have, the facilities, the locker room. Anthony, he allows us to go see all of these things and talk with the players. And I've spoken to players and I've said this to them and I say, obviously all of our memories here. I was here thankfully through some pretty good years that we had on the men's soccer side, but more than anything, it's like 2 of my groomsmen at my wedding a few years ago were men's soccer alumni. Paul was at my wedding. Paul and I met freshman.
Oh, we were turned up.
Yeah, good.
Some of us more than that.
Yeah,
but it's these connections that you make, and I think your work in the alumni board is so pivotal for that. It's that the Sacred Heart people have made connections that last them for a lifetime.
For a lifetime, that's right. And when you talk to people and you see these connections, you'll see like Facebook. Posts and stuff like, oh, I'm at this event or I'm at that event, and even the friends that I've had here, I have a special group of friends from Sacred Heart University, and we're still friends to this day. A lot of us were at each other's weddings or not in baptisms for our children and what have you. It was, it's a special group. It's a special bond. The Sacred Heart community, which I think, because of the size of the school, and we each come from different backgrounds and what have you. I think it's just a special place to be, and I'm proud to be an alumni of Sacred Heart for sure.
You need to put that on the next commercial.
Oh,
I think that's the package. I'm proud to be here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were like a part of it, or last year they did the overnight stay for like alumni.
Yes, that was the first.
Were you a part of it?
Rob Gilmore
playing
that out, but we had been talking about it, and that was that was a successful event for us. And to see people's faces when they came back, they were able to live in the dormitories, for that weekend. That's a great event. It's only going to get bigger, because absolutely. People want to come back. They want to be part of that. And that whole weekend, Rob had a bunch of events that were really successful, and people came back. Even the people that weren't staying came back to to participate. And that's what we really like to see is that kind of growth and different type of events.
Yeah, I thought that was real creative, and even with the food they were getting from each era, like they were like 50s food, 60s food, 70s food.
Exactly. Yeah, they did a good job. They did a really good job. Yeah.
That is amazing. Paul, is it that
time? Fun shoe?
I think so. I think it's that time.
Fun shoe.
Fun shoe. This is,
Rich is nervous.
Yeah. What are we doing here?
This is rapid fire questions about your experience here at Sacred Heart.
Okay.
Paul, take us away.
So, who was your favorite professor?
Mrs. Voloshin.
She
was a business communications professor here.
All right.
Why her?
I think she taught me, and I, it's funny, like the things that you remember when you were here. But she taught me how to interview.
Okay.
And I always took that wherever I was. Even to this day, I kind of think about how to dress, how to present yourself, and that to me was like it made an impression on me.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was your favorite meal here or now?
I don't know. I mean, back then it was like burgers, and it was pretty basic. Let's say bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich.
All right.
That's always a classic.
Yeah. What about like? I guess. I mean, we talked about obviously a lot of the stuff that changed, but like, did you ever think it could like Sacred Heart could be as big as it is today?
I think, that's a good question because, when you're here and you're a student, like I was 19, 20 years old, so you didn't have that kind of vision. But when the new administration came in when I was here, they really thought about like expanding, and we started hearing kind of rumors about it. And, the year I left, I think it was 91, 92, they started bringing kids, not on campus, but off campus housing. So did I think it would ever become what it did? Probably not as a student. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. Gotcha. You got any fun questions?
Yeah. What is the craziest place in life that you have run into a Sacred Heart alumni?
That's a good one.
That's a good question, but I will tell you this: it wasn't an alumni, because I'll tell you, I went on a work trip to Dallas this last month, and there was an alumni event in the hotel I was staying at.
Actually,
yeah. So I called Paul Sotero up, and I'm like, Paul, where's the event? And he told me, and I'm like standing in front of I'm in my hotel, in front of the restaurant, reading the sign, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll be there. You know what I mean? So I ended up, but there was a time when I was working in New York City, and it wasn't an alumni, but there were two guys talking. I was in a bagel shop on 7th Avenue, down where I used to work, and they were talking about their kids and where they were going to go to school, and they mentioned Sacred Heart, and they mentioned another school. So I got my bagel. They're still talking, and I wasn't like, but I heard them say Sacred Heart, and I walked by them. I said, yeah, Sacred Heart's your best option, and walked out. So that was, I always found that, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they were probably wondering, they were like, did that guy go there? Or he just saying anything? Or like, what?
Right?
Sacred Heart paid influencers.
I'm a paid advertisement walking around New York City for Sacred Heart, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay. Of the moments that you've seen, now seeing Sacred Heart through your daughter's eyes, what is the thing that is most surreal for you?
I mean, I think just having her be here, kind of going through some of the things that I went through and my wife went through, when we were students. Obviously, it's a different era, a different time, but there's still some things that, like picking classes or, getting to class on time, like some of the things the basic things, but just to see her going through that is really, it's kind of an aha moment for us, because we're like, you know what, we did that, and some of the things that she talks about, we're like, yeah, that we experienced that. So that really to me is, that's a great moment for me, and it's, we're just proud that that she chose Sacred Heart.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Paul, any last one? You got
I
more.
don't got nothing else.
Not often we get to talk to the former president of the.
There you go. Right.
No, I got nothing else.
Nothing else. All right. Well, this is the first time our guests have completely stumped Paul on.
Well, I've known him for a while, so I guess that's. But I just want to thank you guys for doing this. I mean, getting to see alumni and asking questions of our alumni, and I think it helps. I think it helps people understand what different eras of Sacred Heart, what their experience was, and I think that it gives people a good understanding that it's not just what it is today, but it grew from my time here to what it is now, and I think it's an important story to tell. Sacred Heart, has gone through a transformation. I don't think any other college has seen anything like this, and to be part of that, it makes me proud to be an alumni.
Yeah, even you reminded, I forgot that it was just a high school too.
Well, it was a high school.
That's why it's crazy.
Before it was Sacred Heart. Yeah, that's right. It was Notre Dame High School. Wow. So it's. Yeah.
Wow. A lot has changed. A lot has changed in one lifetime.
It has, for sure.
In one lifetime.
I mean, some schools it takes hundreds of years to have the levels of growth that Sacred Heart has had. No disrespect to them. It's just Sacred Heart's done it faster.
We have. For sure. And it's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is. We appreciate your time, Rich.
Thank you guys for having
me.
Always a pleasure. Yes.
Yep.
This has been another episode of What You Doing. We will see you all next time.